Okay, I have been holding it off for long enough now. It is finally time to put a new relic into the museum, and it is another one that from a technical point of view is probably not bad enough to go into the museum, but the reason it's going in is more than valid. And this game is probably representing the entire software company who frankly deserve their own wing for this. To no one's surprise, I'm of course talking about a game from Titus software, and in this case it is the awful Crazy Cars. It came out in 1988, the same year as Buggy Boy and 1 year after games like Super Hang-On and Test Drive. And that last one is actually particularly interesting because on the box this game represented itself as a three-dimensional real-time simulation where you drive some of the most prestigious sports cars in the world, and that's basically just what Test Drive said about itself. And yes, it really says simulation, which we shall soon find out is a very bold statement. It's stretching reality quite a bit. But anyway, let's not postpone my torture and just get this game over with, because man, I'm not looking forward to this one. And here we are starting up the screen with a really nice rendition of the box art. This is not part of the original game. This is because I'm playing the hard drive version, because we are about to load the rest of the game with a very mediocre title screen, which also has some of the most awful digital music I've ever heard in the game. It's like they needed some music, and one of the programs had a nephew who knew someone who had just started to play guitar with some friends, and while the recording team were in their shed with the cheapest equipment they could find, they asked them, "Do you need time to change your instrument before we start recording?" And it just went, "Nah." And this is the result. Luckily it ends really quickly, and after we are done torturing on this, let's think simulation, because Test Drive represented itself as a simulation too, so I would expect to see some statistics for the cool car we are about to drive, and after confirming that I really want to race, the game will let me. And indeed, on other platforms this game actually does that, but on the SD port, no it doesn't, because as you have seen, I have just been thrown straight into the game and the timer has already started its countdown from the unreasonably strict time limit, so now I can try to start racing, but I know I'm not going to make it to this stage, because basically you're trying to figure out what's going on and you suddenly realize, wait, this is the game already, and we are, well, sort of racing with the joystick. I'm not going to comment on the sound effects because they are probably, yeah, they are just really bad. If this was a 1985 game I would forgive them, but remember this game is from 1988. And of course, the game seems to be surprisingly empty. And that's just because I waited so long before I started racing, so the other cars that are on this track are so far in front of me that I'm basically not bothered by them. But that all doesn't make any difference, because as you can see, because I started racing so late, there was absolutely no way I was going to get to the next level on time. So I just gamed over, and it gives us this game over screen, and I must admit, kudos to the one who made this game over screen, because sure, this screen makes no sense at all in the context of the game, but at least the game has one thing that has some originality and creativity in it. But what we are looking now is the only thing good at the game. The only proper good thing at the game. That tells you a lot about the rest. Because as you already saw, the game actually looks kind of awful. And of course it gives me an opportunity to enter my name, which I'm not going to bother with because it's just an awful game. And why can't I just type here? I have a computer with a keyboard. I can just type my name. Why do I have to use my joystick? That's just so stupid. I mean, if it was an arcade conversion, I wanted to really convert the arcade, okay, I would understand. But this is a home computer game. There's absolutely no need for this. But for some reason I placed second in this game, just behind whoever that is. And of course, you press the fire button and the first thing that happens is you immediately are just thrown straight into the game again. You don't go to a title screen, no option screen, absolutely nothing. And I have to say, man, the looks of this game, I mean, you can really tell the sky is absolutely huge to make sure that absolutely the least amount of movement is in this game as necessary. The roadside objects are just super small. and there's also not a lot of them. And I don't know what's happening next to the road. It looks absolutely stupendously horrific, and it just looks like they made a random pattern and sort of made a palette color cycle to I don't know, simulate movement or anything, but it looks absolutely horrific. And I must say, yeah, there is some sort of sense of speed into the game, that's mainly due to the road. But it's just, I mean, the game looks so incredibly ugly. The game looks so ugly, and come on, surely the programmers must have been able to see this if they were actually testing their game. Why does the game look like this? It is just... Why? Why would you look at a game that looks like this and still say, yeah, it's perfectly fine to release this? And I haven't even talked about the rest of the graphics yet. Actually, get another look at the game over screen, because this was just the looks. But the other graphics, the animation of the sprites, as you can see, I encounter other cars on the road. And the road, especially on the SD version, is actually quite narrow, so it's already really difficult to get past the cars. And that probably only gets bigger because the cars seem to be moving at a frame rate about, I don't know, 3 frames per second at max. Maybe even less. And as soon as I touch a car, well, we are evaluating the gameplay, I guess. This is what happens. I touch a car, the other car is totally unaffected, I just jump up in the air. The other car is totally unaffected, and of course I slow down a lot, which means all the other cars I overtook are now coming from the back. I have absolutely no way of reacting where they come from. I can't even see them behind them. They are just in the screen on top of me. There's nothing I can do. I keep losing more time, and it feels so unfair, crazy unfair. It's just, and it's impossible to dodge the cars, even when I'm in the front, because even when they are in front, sorry, because the cars move at such a slow rate. It's just the car is somewhere, and then suddenly it's at the position where I'm also at. I bounce up in the air, lose all my speed. The other car is unaffected. They are unaffected when they bump into me from behind, but unfortunately I bump up in the air. I lose lots of time, and it's just almost impossible to get past the first level. And it's, why did they do this? I hate games that have no gameplay and that are just totally unfair like this. It's, I have no... And of course, one thing I like about games is that they have progressive difficulty. Does this game have progressive difficulty? I honestly don't know. Because I'm going to be really fair, I don't think I ever made it past the first section. It's just the very first game, I'm already jumping about the place like crazy. It's basically, I don't feel like I'm in control of my car at all. And all the other cars are moving about like idiots. So I'm just losing so much time. There's absolutely no way to get a feel for the game. It's just... See, boom, boom, here you go again. And also, why the jumping? I mean, the car looks very unconvincingly as it is. But apparently they didn't have the time or budget or the skills to actually create extra animation frames for the sprite to move. So they just made the same sprite move higher up in the screen instead of spinning or crashing or whatever. And it's just... It's lazy, or it's they were in depth and timeline. I have no idea why, but come on. Why would anyone like to play this game? And of course, 3, 2, 1, and I have timed out again. The game is just completely unforgiving right from the first stage. There's no progressive difficulty at all. There's no fun learning curve. It's just your car jumping about the place, mostly through no fault of your own, and then running out of time again like I just did. It's like they were so proud of their game over screen that they just wanted to see you to see it as often as possible. That's the only thing I can think of, because man, it's why? Really? Why? And I'm already sick of the game. I've only been playing it for a few minutes, and I'm already sick of the game. And okay, I'm gonna try one more time. But it's yeah, I'm gonna have one more go, because I have already covered all the flaws in the game, but the biggest flaw is the one where it gets into the museum, because despite all the technical faults, you still might argue that this game is still too good to go into the museum, but it has to go in the museum for a very, very simple reason, and that is the absolute shameless selling of a broken product. I mean, this game, I'm sorry, it's virtually unplayable. There are probably people who have practiced a lot that can get it past stage number 1 and get a feel for what the cars are doing, can predict it a little bit, but after you just bought this game, you at least want to feel some sort of progressive difficulty, which it's totally absent in the game. And the frame rate is just so awful that, yeah, okay, the animation in the road gives you a sort of sense of speed, but it does not give you a sense of racing. It just gives you a sense of you are desperately controlling a car that's just bouncing all over the place. And even here, I wasn't doing too bad. Wait, what? I made it past the first run, okay. And apparently now we are at Cape Canaveral because there's a space shuttle there. So I have no idea how I made it past the stage. I was basically gambling where the cars would be. And even if I was very surprised and almost sounded happy, I can tell you there was absolutely no enjoyment coming from that, because it felt like sort of random luck rather than skillful gameplay, and it's just... And even at stage 2, it still looks super ugly, and it just gets so much more difficult just for the second stage. Man, the first one was almost unplayable, and it just gets worse. Well, at least you can't blame me for not trying, because... Oh, come on, I tried to avoid that car. And yeah, here we go again. Boom, 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 boom. I get hit by 5, 6, 7 cars from behind. I come totally to a standstill and it's game over again. So even if there was some joy in reaching the next level, that joy is completely gone now. Yeah, that's Crazy Cars. And to summarize, this game represents how awful it must have been working for Titus Software, because probably you were constantly confronted with totally unreasonable deadlines and low budget, resulting in no testing, broken code or design errors left unfixed, game engines reused without any improvements in many games to follow this one, and many times lots of essential stuff just being left out of the game, even if it was there on other platforms. And Titus were just so shameless in this. They willingly released an unfinished and partly broken game which still was charged full price, and even they lied about what the game was. This is not a simulation, this is just a very feeble attempt at some arcade racing game. And just for that, Titus would probably deserve an entire wing of shame in the museum, but I am just going to leave this game to represent all of that, because I do not want to spend any more time with any of the other awful products at this time. God, I hate this game. I'm glad this video is over, and I still don't know why I started this museum. I'm sorry, I just got angry and I have to stop this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Next time, I hope I'm in a better mood. Thank you.